This is Special Chronicles, giving respect and a voice to people with special needs.
I shudder thinking how the world can be so cruel. Lend my voice to those who can't. It's time we try, it's time we care, it's time we stand. It starts with a voice.
Welcome back to episode 2 of Road to Special Olympics 2026 USA Games, a Special Chronicles podcast series. I'm your host, Daniel Smrokowski, founder of Special Chronicles, a Special Olympics athlete leader with Team Illinois, and a former Sargent Shriver Global Messenger. Today, we're shifting gears and taking with you behind the scenes into the leadership heartbeat of our movement. We're talking with an incredible two athlete leaders from the Athlete Advisory Council, Shaun Linsey, co-chair from Special Olympics Texas, the athlete, and David Booth, his other co-chair for the Athlete Advisory Council. The Athlete Advisory Council plays a crucial role in shaping the athlete experience, strengthening athlete voice, and ensuring that inclusion isn't just a value, it's a practice. Shaun and David bring years of leadership, advocacy, and lived experience to the table. And today they're giving us an inside look at how athlete leaders help guide the road to the 2026 USA Games in Minnesota, happening in just a few days from now. And if you want to follow the journey of these athletes and over 3,000 more, download the 2026 Special Olympics USA Games app. Just search USA Games on the Apple or Android app stores. And to follow this full podcast series, head to specialchronicles.com/2026 USA Games. That's specialchronicles.com/2026 USA Games, or scan that QR code right above if you're watching on the YouTube. And now let's jump in and put your virtual hands together as we welcome Shaun and David onto Special Chronicles. Welcome, Shaun and David.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Daniel, for the wonderful introduction.
Yep, it's. I'm so excited to have you on, and we had some other guests originally planned for this series, but as I was talking with one of our staff from Special Olympics, we feel having fellow athlete leaders on will be more impactful, and so I'm glad that you both agreed to be on. So let's first set the stage, and as you guys have been helping to really set the stage for Minnesota to host these 2026 USA Games, let's begin with both of your athlete leadership journey. Share with both of us how you got involved in athlete leadership and what inspired you to take on these roles as co-chairs of the Athlete Advisory Council. We'll go with Shaun and then David.
Yes, thank you, Daniel. I started athlete leadership in 2014 and became more involved during COVID in 2020 in order to keep in touch with the athletes and help keep their spirits up. We planned online activities such as game nights, dance parties, exercise workouts, and held competitions virtually. I joined many leadership committees such as esports, technology integration, health program, and virtual games committee to become more involved.
Awesome. And David?
Well, thank you for the great question, Daniel. My leadership journey started in the midst of the pandemic in July of 2022, or 2020, my apologies. But I really felt like I was starting to get into my own zone because I got to talk to people who understood me and, most importantly, were selfless towards me. And I've always operated under the philosophy that if someone treats you with humility, you want to give it back. So it really motivated me to listen to other people, figure out how I can help them, and really utilize the tools that were in front of me to lift them up as I lift myself up. And I ended up about 2 years after joining athlete leadership being appointed to the board of directors for Special Olympics Minnesota. And then in 2023, I was appointed to the board of directors for the 2026 USA Games. And then, along with my great partner here, Shaun, I was soon after appointed co-chair of the Athlete Advisory Council for the Games. And again, it's all in appreciation for our incredible athletes who have given so much to all of us.
Awesome. Yeah, I found that a lot for both of you, for myself, and I think for a lot of us athlete leaders. We want to be able to give back, and I'm glad that you highlighted that. And just like those, just like unified cornhole and pickleball, like there's some new sports that are going to be making its debut at these 2026 USA Games. I believe is this one of the first national games that to have an athlete advisory council, or do you guys know if has there been an athlete advisory council in the past?
It was offered in Orlando, but the team, when they took on this responsibility with the Athlete Advisory Council, the LOC realized they weren't really getting a lot of great input from the feedback they received in Florida. So the LOC team, led by incredible CEO Christy Sovereign, said, we need to change that with the Athlete Advisory Council, because our main pillar for the games is to be athlete-led and athlete-driven. So when you come to the games, you can get that sense of an athlete helped produce this, because that's ultimately what this event is for. Yes, we want to bring an incredible experience for our athletes competing, but we want everyone to just see what the mission of Special Olympics is about. And that starts with our incredible athletes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I believe Chairman Tim Shriver, or maybe CEO David Evangelista, even talked about that this as well, that this movement has really shifted from instead of it being the staff doing it for us, it's now been an athlete led, where we're able to lead and, like you said, produce events. And so hopefully when a lot of the volunteers and fans and people come to these games in Minnesota, again, for those of you listening, happening 20th to the 26th of June 2026. Let's now, for listeners who may not know, and because I'm sure our listeners are going to see it in the title of this episode, if they're watching the video on this video podcast on YouTube, they see it underneath both of your names. And I'm sure people are wondering, well, what exactly is an athlete advisory council? So can Shaun and David, can you both break it down as the co-chairs for listeners and our viewers who do not know, what exactly does the Athlete Advisory Council do?
Yes, absolutely. The Athlete Advisory Council is a committee composed of athletes from across the United States. We were tasked with the mission of creating these games to be athlete-driven. Over the past 4 years, since 2022, the members of the Athlete Advisory Council has provided their inputs, insights, and feedbacks regarding the 2026 Special Olympics USA Games to the members of the local organizing committee during its presentation of topics such as the USA Games app, the Young Athletes Festival, and the 1 year out celebration Cheer Like a Champion campaign to spread the word. The Athlete Advisory Council members also provided the ideas for the fan zones and the athlete village, as well as types of retail products. Throughout this process, we could feel the games coming together from an athlete perspective. The council is comprised of 13 members from all over the country, representing 9 total states: Alaska, Georgia, Kansas, Illinois, Minnesota, Mississippi, New York, Texas, and Wisconsin. This is the first time in U.S. Games history that the members of the Athlete Advisory Council were invited to the Games as honored guests to play a key role in events such as the Athlete Welcome Party, Healthy Athlete Ribbon Cutting Ceremony, Unified Work Summit, and the Minnesota Public Radio Camp.
So to kind of build off what Shaun was saying, which, by the way, Shaun, incredible job, is we as the Athlete Advisory Council have also been asked to participate in third-party presentations to different staff members at the USA Games. So that would include third parties that help build the app, third parties that want to donate to the USA Games. The LOC made sure we were in on those meetings so we can ask questions to these third parties on how they can effectively build their module to affect the games and have it athlete input involved into it. And so like we talked about earlier, these games are truly athlete-led and athlete-driven.
Awesome. Yeah, absolutely. I remember from the 2023 World Games in Berlin, myself and a bunch of other athlete leaders helped to everything from the mascot to even the app for those games had all athlete input.
Yeah, even the logo that you see here was led an athlete-led coalition of 26 athletes here in the state of Minnesota that helped input to make the design of the logo really shine as a truly diverse yet unifying message of inclusion for not just our athletes, but all involved in the mission of Special Olympics in our great nation.
Awesome. Let's now wrap up this first segment, and you both talked about just the power of the athlete voice, and as we dive into why athlete voices really matter, you both share, David and Shaun, why it's so important to have as an athlete, both of you and myself and the 3,000 athletes coming to compete in Minnesota. Why is it important for us athletes to have a seat at the table when these decisions are all being made?
Okay. So when athletes are able to voice their champion opinions, it allows those who are making the decisions to understand the athletes' perspectives. This provides a more successful organization since the athletes understand what they need. Just like in any sport, athletes who band together during the game will do better than those who sit by the sidelines without being involved.
I like that answer, Shaun. Thank you. That's wonderful, man. I would add on too that it's like, why not have a voice at the table? Yes, it's like you could cook a dinner and you can imagine yourself what people would like in that dinner, but why not just send out an invitation and ask, what would you like? What would you like? And when you serve that dinner, it's more impactful because when those people are digging in, they get the sense that they were heard, and it makes it extra special. So that's the same concept here with these games, and just frankly, anything that involves the mission of Special Olympics. When you know multiple parties are involved in the input in this beautiful creation, it makes everyone feel like they've answered the call for this incredible event.
Absolutely, and just like I've seen what the tagline, calling all champions, that seems to fit in with exactly what both David and Shaun of what you both have shared about it being at the level that you're calling not just the champions of the 3,000 athletes and unified partners competing, but champions like athlete leaders, like both of you, like myself, and the volunteers, coaches, and staff. All calling all champions of all.
Exactly. And let's expand it even further. It's not just anybody that's involved with the mission of Special Olympics. It's everyone. Because in our society right now, we live in a very divided world. No question about that. So what do people do when they're in a state of division? They look for an entity that looks at them and says, you deserve to be included. You have value in our society. We have a tool of light through these games to look at you and say, come and be a part of us because you are a champion in your own right. You just don't know what it is, but our event can see what it is. And most importantly, we see the value of you. So we want you to come and be a part of this so you can answer the call with amongst all of your proud champions, because
Awesome.
there is no one specific champion. We are all
Awesome.
champions under the mission of Special Olympics.
Awesome. Yeah, absolutely. And building upon that passion, building upon that enthusiasm, let's dive into the work and the impact of this Athlete Advisory Council for these 2026 USA Games. As well as building upon how you said some of the work that the council has done is helped with the app, help with the young athletes, help with the Cheer Like a Champion, help with designing the logo that you guys are wearing, and that if people are watching the video, they see it up on the screen as well. Talk to our listeners, Shaun and David, as the co-chairs, what the current priorities are. What are some of the key issues, some of the key projects that the Athlete Advisory Council are focusing on right now?
So as 26 Special Olympics USA Games involves that can help create a better experience for the athletes partaking in the sports competitions. This would include events such as the Unified Work Summit and the Minnesota Public Radio Camp.
Awesome.
Yeah. Like Shaun said, again, thank you as always, Shaun. It's mainly just ensuring that when our athletes walk in, they're getting the full experience. And what I mean by full isn't like, okay, the basket is full. I mean more of full in the respect that it's adaptive. Because as we see in our state competitions, there are a lot of athletes that have different needs, different, sensory type issues. So we make sure that our games are very adaptable, and we give that input back to the LOC to ensure that's delivered. So what you'll see in Minnesota is one of our proud projects is the sensory rooms. We really made a heavy emphasis on ensuring that there were a lot of sensory type stuff available. So if any athlete feels overstimulated, they can be able to take a break in their own rooms or get little fidgets to help them. And we also brought in different nonprofit organizations to help basically give athletes, while they're in Athlete Village, the opportunity to just do like yoga or do whatever activity to help just kind of take the stress down a little bit and remember that this is their time. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity, and we want to give them the full experience. So when they walk away from Minnesota, they feel like they got the full experience.
Awesome, absolutely, and I'm sure for many athletes that they're going to look back on this week of the USA Games as such a powerful moment in their, not just their leadership journey, but their athlete journey as well. As we talk about the influence of these USA Games, talk about how the Athlete Advisory Council is helping to shape the athlete experience. You talked a little bit already, but may go a little bit more in depth with how the council is helping to shape the athlete experience at these 2026 USA Games.
So I'll give you a great example, Daniel. Sean Damaris, he's our chief of athlete competitions. He's really wonderful to work with. He actually came to both myself and the Athlete Advisory Council asking, what can we do to enhance like athlete celebration, like really deliver that just once in a lifetime memory? And we gave out, Shaun, correct me if I'm wrong, but we gave off ideas like, hey, why not do like at a basketball game, we have like cheerleaders, or we have like theme music's going on, kind of treating it like a regular NBA game. We've brought up ideas at softball for stuff like that. Like we really been able to give that kind of input of just that athlete mindset of like making this not just a Special Olympics type event, but an Olympic Games. So you leave feeling like this isn't Special Olympics. This Special Olympics is just a part of the charter of the Olympic movement. And now we've helped bridge that gap to make it even more like the regular Olympics. Because for a lot of us, that's how we feel deep down. We feel like we're like Olympians because we go out there, we have fun, and technically we're part of the charter. So we really took that to heart.
Yeah, absolutely. Before Shaun, you respond as well. I just want to comment on one thing you said, David, and that is, I think our chairman Tim Shriver has even talked about how it's not just this movement and these games is not just about. It's not just something that's cute or something for little kids, but it is that Olympic moment. Like it's just and so it's so exciting to hear that a lot of the work that the Athlete Advisory Council is doing is to really show fans and really show people that it's just like any other professional Olympic I don't know if you guys watched the NBA finals last night, but like it's that type of high level.
Because at the end of the day, our athletes, we don't make money. And maybe some athletes may not have the physical abilities as the regular professional athletes, but man, when you see it on their faces and you see it in their mentality and especially their training, trust me, I've seen some incredible people go through some incredible training. There is no difference. But the best part about us as Special Olympic athletes is we do it for the love of the game. We showcase what the beauty of sport can bring, not just here in Minnesota, not just here in the United States, but all over the world. It's unity, happiness through the beauty of sports.
Awesome. I love that. Shaun, did you want to respond?
For myself, I will be involved in the motor athlete training program. Since Special Olympics Texas is presenting the demo, it is a movement-based sport program for athletes with profound intellectual disabilities needing more support. At skill stations, athletes develop their mobility, dexterity, striking, kicking, and balance through sports-related activities, as well as participate in group games, which I help them interact with others and further develop their skills. I will also be involved with the ESPN Unified Sports Challenge, in which Special Olympics athletes, unified partners, and celebrities compete together in a series of physical and skill-based challenges with different sport teams. This promotes inclusion, teamwork, and unification of individuals with all levels of sports ability. There will be interactive activities as part of the pre-show experience. In addition, there will be athletes telling their stories and competitors giving interviews. There will be live music and fans promoting an exciting atmosphere. I'm very excited to be part of these athlete experiences at the games.
Awesome. And you both mentioned just a little bit ago about how you're collaborating with the LOC and with some of the staff. As we talk about collaborating with leadership, talk to our listeners about is there a particular story that you can share of what collaboration looks like between the Athlete Advisory Council and Special Olympics staff, or even state programs as well, whether it's Special Olympics Missouri, Special Olympics Minnesota, or Texas, or in my case Illinois, or any of the other 50 states. But what does collaboration look like between the Athlete Advisory Council and Special Olympics staff, or state, or the local program?
Yeah. So to promote Special Olympics Texas, the athlete leadership helps at Special Olympics Texas events. Also, some members of the athlete leadership are part of the Young Professionals Board and sit on the Special Olympics Texas Board of Directors. The athlete leaders, through their volunteer efforts, help the staff in such fundraisers as the such as Tipper Cop at Texas Roadhouse and the Jersey Mike's Day of Giving, at which the athletes bring their community together.
Awesome.
So,
David?
I'm going to answer this more in a broad sense because I think it unifies all the different parties together. It really comes down to a unified understanding from the LOC or the leadership teams from the different programs in saying, again, like we talked about earlier, do we want to speak for what they want, or do we want to speak together to establish what a unified want is? So, for example, like I brought up earlier, we had LOC members inviting us to different meeting proposals for the app design by different third parties. They reached out to us to bring us in so we could listen into the presentation and give our feedback to those different third parties. Now, on top of that, like I said, we were brought in to help with introductions to different prospects or donors to the USA Games or even at Special Olympics Minnesota. Because again, they can go and give that first impression, but it's important to have that athlete there so these groups could see us and hear from us to really give off that unified and most importantly, inclusive message. So I think that really the collaboration you hear all the time about really comes from a mutual understanding from all parties what the unifying message of Special Olympics is, which is it prospers when all feel heard and all can make an impact.
Awesome. Let's now dive into the athlete experience and inclusion. And again, at the very end of the program today, we'll go into have you define inclusion at the very end. So we'll save that a little bit until the end. But as we dive into the athlete experience and inclusion, from both of your perspectives, talk about what true inclusion, what you've mentioned it a little bit already. What does true inclusion look like at the USA Games?
So true inclusion at the USA Games involves all athletes, no matter what their ages and skill levels are, to participate in sports and activities. This can be seen as the molded activity training program at the ESPN Unified Sports Challenge. There's also a program called Young Athletes for Children of all levels of abilities from ages 2 through 7. Basic sports levels skills and interactive activities help children form friendships and encourage healthy practices. The Unified Work Summit promotes awareness of the employment issue faced by people with intellectual development disabilities. At this summit, advocates will provide tools for those individuals trying to find employment to become inclusive members of the economy system through a series of inclusive hiring webinars.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. David, do you want to add on?
Yeah, I just had something short I wanted to say. True inclusion to me is when you not only ask the person, what do you want? What do you think would be great? But also being open to why they answered that question. So what do I mean by that? When you ask someone, hey, how do you feel about this or this? Then you ask why. And when you give that why, and most importantly, are willing to see if that why is possible to execute at your event, it makes inclusion really shine. So I'll give you one quick example. You may have seen, Daniel, and your audience may have seen on the shop, this USA Games flag. Mm-hmm. I wanted to tell you guys that I was the first one to ever do a USA Games flag. I created 4 original flags, and then I presented it to the chief marketing officer, Mary Howarth, who's been wonderful to work with. And together, we ended up finding a flag company based in Indiana called Flags for Good. And through their partnership, we ended up putting that flag out there on the shop. And I saw that it sold out once. People were enlightened. And that started from just an idea that I came up with my head after I put it up on my pole, and a desire to share it with as many people as possible. And the LOC, Mary Howarth, saw that and was willing to work with me on it. And we were able to make it happen.
Awesome. Very excited. We're going to combine a few questions into one because we've got another guest that's waiting backstage for another episode that will be coming on this series. Yeah, very this for those of you that are listening in, this is our Road to Special Olympics USA Games 2026, a Special Chronicles podcast series. One of the most in-depth series that we have produced on this platform, on this program in the past 18 years. As we talk about supporting athletes as well as challenges and solutions, because we know that we've got a team behind us that's supporting the 3,000 athletes that are competing at the USA Games, as well as both of you know, as I know myself as a Special Olympics athlete, we all have challenges, but then we all find solutions and opportunities because of those challenges. Like I recently gave a talk a couple months ago, from challenges to opportunities. So Shaun and David, again, our guests today on our Road to Special Olympics USA Games, a Special Chronicles podcast series. Shaun and David are co-chairs of the Athlete Advisory Council. Talk to our listeners about some of the ways that programs can better support athletes on and off the field, and then what challenges do athletes still face today, and how is the Athlete Advisory Council working to address the challenges?
Okay, the programs can offer athletes on and off the field more guidance in their search for inclusion in the sports arena, as well as the community, through role modifications and the adapted equipment provisions. In the sports arena, this could include using software bars, lowering the basketball hoops, and providing coaches who help individuals by using certain cue words and visual demonstrations rather than only auditory explanations. Off the field, those individuals who have sensitive issues can be provided with spaces that control noise and overstimulation. Caregivers can help teach the individuals about healthy lifestyles to ensure these individuals know how to advocate for themselves. And a challenge is in ensuring that the athlete understands what is needed for a healthy lifestyle. There has been more emphasis on sports and fitness programs, as well as these athletes becoming more self-sufficient in their health needs.
Awesome. And David, do you want to add on to that?
I would love to, Daniel. First of all, Shaun, great job. Don't know how to follow up with that one, but I'll certainly do my best. It really comes down to, for our athlete leaders and athletes across the nation, don't be afraid to ask a question. Just ask. And to those who lead our programs and leadership teams, always be keen on how you respond. Make sure that it comes off in a very genuinely appreciative manner, but most importantly, explain to your athlete leaders if an idea can't work, why it can't work. Because for us as athletes, we're not afraid of negative feedback. Or sorry, not negative, I need to stress it. We're not afraid of feedback in general, so long as it comes off as constructive. Because when we get that input, that makes us better as athlete leaders, because then we can adjust and fix and represent maybe a different idea, or an idea that came off from the same idea you originally came up with. But because we work together to form a cohesive understanding, when you represent the idea, people are more welcoming to it, and they can then make that idea possible and really execute on it. That's the one thing I've noticed since being in athlete leadership, is how your original idea can morph into something different, but still deliver that same level of impact. So really just keen is collaboration, and not just collaboration, but inclusive collaboration.
Inclusive collaboration. Yeah, awesome. That's a key. That's a powerful message, a powerful phrase that hopefully all our listeners will take from this episode. I mean, there's a lot of powerful quotes and lines that you both have shared, but that inclusive collaboration is something that I think people can take both on and off the field of play. As we look ahead to Minnesota 2026, and from the time that we're recording this and by the time this episode airs this week, Minnesota 2026 Special Olympics USA Games will be taking place in just a few days from now. I know the torch is making its way to Minnesota. All the teams will be traveling to Minnesota. We're going to again combine the next few just for the sake of time. As we talk about the hope for the games, the legacy, and then the advice for athletes. Shaun and David, again, our guests, all the co-chairs of the Athlete Advisory Council. Talk about what your hopes for the athlete experience at these 2026 USA Games are. What legacy do you hope that the Athlete Advisory Council will leave for future games, future USA Games? And then finally, share your advice that you would give to athletes that are preparing to compete at Minnesota 2026 Special Olympics USA Games.
Yeah, so my hopes and dreams for the 2026 USA Games are that everyone involved has a very memorable time. The hope of the Advisory Council has shown that hard work and determination will achieve anything that you want to accomplish. Never give up your dreams and stay positive for what you believe in. Since the 2026 USA Games are not only a sporting event, but also a humanitarian platform, there are events such as Unified Work Experience, which deal with the employment issue of individuals with intellectual disabilities, and the Healthy Athlete program providing free health screenings, which includes vision, hearing, dental, nutrition, emotional health, physical therapy, and podiatry. And my advice to the athletes is to have fun, enjoy all the highs in your experiences at the game, and be brave in the attempt.
Awesome. Powerful last word. Be brave in the attempt. David?
So I'm kind of going to answer this a little out of order. I hope that's okay. For our athletes, just know that we built this to be a unified experience that matches all athlete needs to the best of our abilities based on incredible feedback that we've had from all of our Athlete Advisory Council members. And that my message to my fellow athletes is, like Shaun said, have fun. And no matter if you win or lose, when you walk into those opening ceremonies, just have this one thought. So many people created this for us out of appreciation for us being us. You being you made this incredible time possible. You are the champions. And this is a celebration of why you are champions. Now, in terms of legacy, and this is not just for our athletes, but for all involved, we created an opportunity for you to be brave. Win or lose, whether you win, you were brave. And in a time of division, you got to see something that was different. Something that's possible. So you may hear the saying, oh, well, this can happen and this positive thing can happen, but it always seems like it's on the drawing board. No, as Tim Shriver said, this is Special Olympics country. And when you walk in here and you see that, you can say to yourself, why can't I bring this home with me back to my home state or my hometown? It's possible here at the USA Games. It can be possible back where you live. And that's why we bring this to you, to show what is possible, not what's impossible.
Awesome. Yes. So some more powerful words, David. I can see both why both of you were selected as the co-chairs for the Athlete Advisory Council. But again, some powerful words here of David that you shared as well. That when the athletes walk into the opening ceremony, when they walk into any venue during the week in Minnesota, that they see that it truly was created unified. It truly was creating so people can recognize that as athletes, it's a place where we can be ourselves, and that we really all champions, and that the when so much is divided in society today, that we really have this place to really show the country, to really show.
We created something different, and we embraced that differency. We embraced it, and so now you can embrace it too. You don't need to be afraid. You don't need to stick to the status quo. You can be different, and you can be proud of it.
Awesome. I love that. Love that powerful message that you can be different. Speaking of that, I think it was. I'm trying to think because I've been to so many. International events in the past, but I believe it was at the 2019 Abu Dhabi World Games. The actress or singer from the show, The Greatest Showman, who sang the song "This Is Me," performed at the closing ceremony of those games, and that seems to have a similar message to what David you said is going to be happening here at these USA Games. Let's now dive into the really final segments in the final 5, 6, 7 minutes of the program today. Again, our guests are Shaun and David, co-chairs of the Athlete Advisory Council for the Special Olympics USA Games 2026 happening in Minnesota, the week of June, the week of the 20th to the 26th of June 2026. Talk about what's one leadership moment for both of you, and it could be some leadership moment in that you both did as a part of this Athlete Advisory Council. Maybe it was with I think David, you mentioned earlier the flag that you have to get. But what's one leadership moment that you both are most proud of?
Yeah, I'll give us. I actually had two moments. At the 2015 Special Olympics World Games in Los Angeles, I won the Best Guest Services Attendant Award. For me, it was an unforgettable and rewarding experience as I helped athletes and their families from around the world while witnessing on a global level the determination, drive, and enthusiasm of many Special Olympics athletes. In 2018, this is my second moment. In 2018, I developed my idea of writing a book about my 50th anniversary of Special Olympics Texas. Although there were some issues due to the COVID-19 pandemic, I'm happy to say my book was published and printed. I donated all sales monies earned from my book to Special Olympics Texas. It has many uplifting and positive athlete stories of determination and dedication, along with with heartwarming stories from parents, siblings, heads of delegation, volunteers, family, friends, and law enforcement, torture, and police officers. My book finally became a reality, which shows that an individual with special needs can and does accomplish anything that they can set their mind on to achieve. I want the world to pay attention to the Special Olympics athletes who should never be ignored.
Awesome. And David?
Honestly, I could literally write a book like Shaun on all the different accomplishments and all the great memories I have, but I'd rather keep it condensed to one. And that is the incredible privilege and opportunity I've had to serve along Shaun, Lisa, and all of the members of the Athlete Advisory Council. When we started, we had a vision, and we all worked together to see what started as a small seed in the ground to turn into a beautiful flower that is both multicultural, multicolored, and most importantly, represents the beauty of inclusion when you see it mixed together. We've had some trials here and there, but we rally together, just like our athletes are going to rally together during the games. And that, to me, is the memory I'm going to cherish most, is the amazing individuals I've gone to work with. So thank you, Shaun, and all the ACC members.
Yeah, and also for the book statement, this is my book. Be Brave
awesome.
Again. So it's the first 50 years with Special Olympics Texas. Celebrated 2019. 2019. It was 50 year anniversary of Special Olympics Texas. So I created this book. So all the athletes, unified partner, volunteers, family members, law enforcement, trust fund. It's been a dream come true on this book.
Awesome. Yeah, very, very motivating. I know I am in the process of co-writing a book right now, and hopefully also to write a book of my story in the next few years. So yeah, very, very, very powerful ways to share our stories and share the stories of our fellow Special Olympics athletes. There's a lot of things that motivate us as athletes, as athlete leaders. What motivates both of you, Shaun and David, to continue serving as athlete leaders?
Well, what keeps me motivated as an athlete leader is the joy I receive from seeing athletes accomplish their goals. When I see a shy athlete become a leader of the team, I feel I have inspired them to go above and beyond what they thought they could accomplish.
Awesome. And David?
For me, it's just a simple desire to service, to help, to shine, and most importantly, to give. I know Special Olympics has showcased and given me the opportunity to really present my talents to the rest of the world. And in return, I wish to use those talents to help improve as many lives as humanly possible. And that's not just our athletes, it's everyone involved with the movement of Special Olympics. And that's what drives me every day. When I see, as Shaun said, when we see those smiles on their faces, we can sit back and be proud of what we've done, because that's the beauty of service. Service in respect to the smiles of all involved.
Awesome. And before we get to the final question, what's the final message that you both want listeners to take away from our conversation today, for a message for coming on the Special Chronicles Podcast Series World to the 2026 USA Games? What's the message that you want listeners to really take away from our conversation today?
Yeah, first of all, I want to thank David for being an awesome and inspiring co-chair and president. He's at 1 million. But I want to say, I want listeners to know that even though we have special needs, we are still human beings with feelings and emotions that are hurt by cruel words thrown at us. We are no different than anyone else. In fact, we have abilities to strive to be the best, as well as compassion for others.
I love it, Shaun. That was beautiful, man. Gonna be hard to top that. To be honest, it comes down to this, as Shaun talked about. Be you. Don't be afraid. And remember, there is value in you. But to achieve that value, go out there and ask a question. Ask a simple question, and you'll be amazed at what opportunities can open up when you simply ask a question.
Awesome. Powerful final words. We got one final question as we wrap up. And as you both know, the inclusion revolution is a big part of this movement, a big part of Special Olympics, both globally, nationally, at the local program level, and of course at these 2026 USA Games. It's also inclusion is important here at Special Chronicles, because behind me, I mean, like not physically behind me, but behind me, the small team at Special Chronicles that we have that I have helping me out as volunteers. Really is motivated. And so we want to leave our listeners with some very call to action, some very simple ways of how our listeners can take both of your stories, take what you shared in the past hour to today, and bring inclusion into their towns, into their communities, into their workplaces, into their sports fields and schools and communities. So to introduce the final question, we've got a bumper. So let's go ahead and roll that bumper to introduce this final question.
We're not just athletes.
We are the ambassadors of an uprising.
Peaceful protesters.
In a rebellion against anyone
who has a fear of difference.
Difference.
Our demands are
equality,
dignity, and the recognition of our
shared humanity. We will not stop
or accept anything less.
Today, our world is
more divided than ever.
And coming together has never been more urgent.
The revolution
is inclusion.
Find out more at jointherevolution.org.
So just like I've done since the 2019 Special Olympics World Games in Abu Dhabi, I've been asking this final question because it really gets to the heart of what we want our listeners to take away. So I'll leave it, and just to let you guys know, I'm going to be editing the responses on this series, both pre-games as well as on location in Minnesota, on the week of the anniversary of Special Olympics on July 20th, we'll be releasing an episode that's a montage of a whole bunch of different voices answering the question of answering this final question. And so I'll do the same for you both. And Shaun and David, what does inclusion mean to you?
Inclusion means to me that there is an opportunity for all individuals, no matter what age, race, religion, gender, or level of ability the individual exhibits. Everyone should be considered as a human being in their community.
Awesome. So my answer is no matter who, what they are, through inclusion, you are part of one, and we prosper as one.
Awesome. Powerful ways of how you both define inclusion, and I'm sure our listeners can take that back as a really powerful takeaway for the conversation today. Thank you again, Shaun and David, for taking the time to come on the program. I hope to meet you both in person in Minnesota at these 2026 USA Games in just a few days from now.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Dan, for this podcast. I would really appreciate it.
You're an amazing ambassador, Daniel. Thank you so much for what you do every day.
And
Thank you. My pleasure. And
David, you are one of the million person. You have inspired me greatly.
Yeah.
Same to you, Shaun. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And you both all amazing leaders as well in this movement. So that brings us to the end of this very special conversation with Shaun and David, Shaun Linsey and David Booth, co-chair of the Athlete Advisory Council. Shaun calling in from Special Olympics Texas, and David Booth calling in from Special Olympics Minnesota. Both of their leadership reminds us that the athlete voice isn't just important, it's essential. It shapes programs, strengthens communities, and ensures that every athlete has the opportunity to shine on and off the field. If you want to follow the journey to the 2026 USA Games and track the progress of thousands of Special Olympics athletes and unified partners, download the USA Games app by searching USA Games in your app store. And don't forget to follow this full podcast series at specialchronicles.com/2026 USA Games, at specialchronicles.com/2026 USA Games, or scan that QR code right above. Whether you're an athlete, a unified partner, a volunteer, or someone who believes in the power of inclusion, thank you for joining us. Together, we're building a world where every athlete is seen, held, and celebrated. I am Daniel Smrokowski, and we'll see you on the next episode. The athlete's journey is coming up next on the next episode of this Road to the Special Olympics 2026 USA Games. And until then, choose to include. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Special Chronicles Podcast. Our podcast was produced by Daniel Smrokowski on the Special Chronicles Network. Follow Special Chronicles on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Subscribe, rate, and review Special Chronicles on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Our website, specialchronicles.com, where you can stream our archives of over 500 episodes for free. Also, there's a list of our favorites, original series, award-winning columns, and blogs. And sign up for our newsletter to receive exclusive bonus content delivered to your inbox. Again, specialchronicles.com. Special Chronicles is hosted by Podbean Podcast Hosting. Our live streams are powered by StreamYard. Thanks, as always, to our business manager, Adam Smrokowski, who always encourages us to never give up. I'm Daniel Smrokowski, back next week with more stories.
Special Chronicles, giving respect and a voice to people with special needs.